Hi, I'm Manga Captor, and I love reading danmei. I got introduced to it last year through the lovely series Heaven Official's Blessing, and I ate up those 8 books like it was nothing. In case you don't know what danmei is, it's a genre of Chinese literature that features romance between 2 male characters. And within the genre of danmei, you have lots of subgenres. Some include historical, fantasy, horror, and sci-fi. And I don't know about you, but sci-fi and gay romance was just sounding really good, so I did what anyone would do and I went to the internet and looked for the most recommended sci-fi danmei. And time again, I found people recommending a little series called Little Mushroom, which does in fact include a romance between a mushroom and a human.
What?
Lots of people seem to love this danmei, so let's just hear from some of them.
No recommendation list for sci-fi danmeis is complete without this novel, in my opinion. Please, I love this so much my heart hurts.
A goddamn masterpiece.
Not to be dramatic, but I would gladly give my life for Anja. Haunting, he's just a little mushroom.
I am unwell.
Don't let the title and the cover fool you. This is not a cute book, okay? 2.5 out of 5. He's literally just a mushroom. Okay, so not everybody loves this title, but I'm intrigued and I need to read it. So I'm going to do just that. Alright, today marks day 1 of having read Little Mushroom for the first time, and I am just so happy to have this book in my hands physically. It was very hard to get a hold of. I had been wanting this book for months, but it wasn't in stock, so I am just so thankful to finally have been able to get a copy in my hands, and today I read up to chapter 4, and I'm enjoying it so far. I will say there are some pretty big trigger warnings if you are not a fan of gore, body horror, insects, scary monsters, creepy crawlies. I would skip this one because there's a ton of them. This world is filled with scary creatures that are a mixture of human and animal, and some of the descriptions of these creatures will probably give me nightmares. And there is also a ton of violence that can be pretty gruesome and heartless. This is very much not a fluffy, feel-good romance. This is a scary sci-fi that happens to have a tad of romance from what I understand. So basically in this story we follow our main protagonist who is a mushroom. They appear human, but they are 100% a mushroom. And they have one goal in mind, which is to retrieve their spore that was stolen from them. So it's a very important objective for our main character. Now, since they are a mushroom cosplaying as a human being, there's a lot that they are learning as they're going on this adventure. They had this idea of humans being kind, and that hasn't exactly played out as they would have expected. So they're kind of adapting their ideas and expectations of humans as they go. And it's really interesting hearing a story from the perspective of a mushroom. I know that this story is going to be a bit of a heavy one, but I'm really looking forward to what the author has to say through this narrative. I'm gonna go ahead and go to bed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow and give you another reading update. Alright, I'll see you in the next clip. It is day 2 of reading Little Mushroom, and I am still enjoying this very much, but it is gruesome. It is violent, aggressive, it is crude, it's a lot. It's very intense. And I knew that, but I just feel like I was kind of slapped in the face with how crude and violent it actually is. I'm having a hard time liking this character here. This is the love interest, Lu Feng. He is an executioner and he is just such an intense character. And I really love our protagonist, Anje. He's just such a wholesome character, probably because he's a mushroom. So he can't really be much else other than wholesome. And I'm just really curious how this relationship is going to work because they seem like polar opposites. It feels very much like an enemies to lovers type of situation. And I've actually never read any enemies to lovers stories. So this will be my first one, I guess. And I don't know, I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm curious, I'm intrigued. And what I said about the love interest being this like intense executioner, that's not a spoiler. That's on the back. They let you know right away, like, this guy executes people on the spot. He's pretty heartless. So how is he gonna develop feelings for our protagonist, you know? Yeah, I'm like at about page 112, and this is a 400-page book. I mean, I feel like I've gotten pretty good progress in for only having this book for 2 days. And I started putting tabs on some pages that I just really enjoyed. I don't really annotate my books. I just simply take a little sticky tab and place it at the beginning of a sentence or a paragraph that I just really enjoyed. But anyways, that pretty much sums up day 2 of reading Little Mushroom, and I'll see you guys in the next clip. Alright, just wanted to give you a quick reading update. I read a little bit of this morning, and this character here, Lu Feng, the love interest that I was saying I do not like, he did one protective thing. And I was like, I like this character now. I understand. That's how simple-minded I am. If a character is protective, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're amazing. So yeah, that's all. I'm gonna read a little bit more before work, and I'll see you in the next clip. Okay, so I read a ton last night, but I did not update you guys because I was so tired. I almost got to page 200, so I'm almost halfway through the book. I had a terrible time sleeping last night. I had like nightmare after nightmare, and it's probably from that book that I'm reading. And some of the descriptions of these creatures will probably give me nightmares because it is so terrifying. It's truly like one of the most like disturbing like apocalyptic stories that I've read. And there's just so many like strange like mutant bugs that are like really creepy, and I'm like reading this right before bed and I'm like, yeah, I'll be fine. And by the way, I'm making myself a little fun drink. I have like some sakura tea, and I thought, what if I combined sakura tea and matcha together? I feel like it'd be really good, and I just really want a pretty drink after my terrible night of sleep, or should I say lack of sleep. I didn't really sleep. So yeah, anyways, so Little Mushroom, it's still really good, and that one character that I said I didn't like, Lu Feng, I'm starting to like them more because they're just being, I don't even know if they're really being nice though. Like, I feel like they help out our protagonist, but I feel like he's still like a bully. I know that lots of people really like Little Mushroom and they say it's like a pretty romantic story, and I'm just still waiting for that part to happen. Also, I'm like pretty impressed with the translation at times. I don't know, just the words on the page are just almost like poetic and really beautiful like to read. And I'm just like, wow, that's amazing that they were able to translate it and keep like that beauty in the story. There are like a few sentences that are like maybe a tiny bit repetitive or clunky, but overall it's not bad. Like, I've read some translated works that felt like something was slightly off maybe, so I feel like anytime I read a book that's translated and it's done really well, it just feels like such an enormous gift. Like, I'm able to experience this story that's not in my native language, and I'm just so happy that there are people that are talented and able to do that, because I mean, I just love story. I want to read all types of stories, including those from different cultures and languages, and it's just so great that we're able to do that. There are just like so many moments where our main character, Anje, has like reflection, and I'm like, wow, like this is like really beautiful and really insightful, and it comes from a mushroom. Like, that's amazing. Like, duh, I know it's fiction, but still, fiction can be really moving, and I think sometimes people downplay fiction and act like it's not like a worthwhile thing to read. This smells really good, by the way. I just poured the warm sakura tea on top of the matcha, and I have like these flowers left over that I'm gonna use to garnish my matcha, and it's gonna be really cute, and I'm so happy that you're here to experience it with me. But anyways, I feel like I'm rambling. I'm gonna go get some oat milk. I like my matcha with oat milk. But this has been a really fun experience reading it. I think it's like only my second danmei series. My first one was Heaven Official's Blessing, which was such a great introduction to that genre. And I definitely want to read more in this genre. Let me know if you have like more danmei recommendations. Like, I really want to read Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. That's probably going to be the next one that I read in the danmei genre. Okay, that's a very pleasant amount of sweetness. I'm gonna put some of these flowers in here just to make it like pretty. It might not be as pretty as I thought it would be, but it definitely tastes delicious. So I achieved half of what I set out to do, which is pretty good. So yeah, that doesn't look super pretty. It looks like there's like pieces of ham in my drink. I wish I could just bounce right into reading right now, but I have a ton of stuff to do and I don't want to do it, but I have to do it, and then I'll be able to relax and read. So I'll see you guys in the next clip. So that was depressing, and I don't know about you, but whenever I read something really sad, I like to do something happy, I guess. So I'm going to be wrapping up some small gifts while I kind of debrief a little bit on what I just read. Man, this book is so sad. Like, that is the vibe. That is the mood, the setting. Just depressing stuff back to back, basically. And I typically don't like stories like that a ton, so this is something outside of my comfort zone. Oh no, I think I didn't... That's not gonna fit. I'm not very good at wrapping presents, so trying to talk and wrap them at the same time is a feat. It won't look aesthetically pleasing, but I'll figure it out. But yeah, there's a lot of like existentialism, lots of depressing themes and events. The story is like really heartbreaking, and like I'm just kind of waiting for like more romantic things to happen. And I'm guessing it's just going to be subtle. I mean, all of the characters are in life or death situations constantly. There's no time for like explicit romance, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like people are just like, we have to survive. This is really bad present wrapping. This is terrible. This is like such a bad job. But anyways, I don't know what I'm saying anymore, but here's the present reveal. How does it look? It looks like a 5-year-old did it, but that's fine. The shape was like irregular. But basically this made me feel maybe 10% better, which is pretty good. And I just needed like to boost my mood a little bit after reading those chapters that were just so depressing. You may ask, why exactly am I like reading something that is making me feel like distressed? I don't know. That's a great question. That's a wonderful question, and I would love to know the answer as well. But yeah, I mean, why do you read certain books that make you cry and make you upset or whatever emotion? Why do you do that to yourself? Let me know in the comments, and we can comfort each other and hear each other out. All right, I'll see you in the next clip. Alright, so I just finished this first volume of Little Mushroom, and I think this has to be the fastest I've ever read a 400-page book.
Am I a joke to you?
I really enjoyed this book a lot. In the last few clips, I was talking about how it was making me kind of depressed and sad, and that still stands true, but this book isn't trying to just, torture you with sadness over and over again. It does have a bit of a balance considering that this is a romance series. So there are moments that are more cute and heartwarming sprinkled throughout, but it's a very light sprinkling. So if you're expecting like this like instantaneously like the main characters fall in love and it's like very emotional and heartwarming and moving, that is not it. It is very much about the catastrophe that is happening on Earth and how humans are trying their best to survive. And then you just get like a little side dip of the warmer, kinder moments. The world building in this is very detailed. Like for a duology, I'm very impressed with how well thought out the world, the environment, the way things work. It just makes sense. Despite it being such a like dramatic end of the world type scenario. Like it feels logical, like it makes sense. It doesn't feel completely like outlandish, like what the heck are you talking about? I don't understand what's going on. It's very well thought out, mapped, and explained to the reader. And again, I'm just very impressed. I'm impressed overall with this author's writing. I'm not 100% sure how to say their pen name, but it's right there, and I think it's pronounced Shishi, but they have some other, oh my god, there's a truck outside. I'll talk to you guys later. There's a truck. You can hear it. I'll talk to you guys later. It's been about an hour and a half, but I'm back. And what I was trying to say was that the author who wrote this book also has other works that are mentioned in the back. And I feel like they've just become an author that I automatically want to read everything that they write. So some of their other published titles include Cultivating in Sea, The Cat's Rose, and another title that I don't know how to pronounce and I don't want to butcher it, so I'm going to put it on screen. But yeah, I really want to read her other novels because I love how she writes. And yeah, I'm kind of kicking myself because I didn't purchase the second volume of this duology before I finished it. I should have done that, but it's definitely getting ordered today. We are buying the second one. There was just a part of me that was like, well, what if I don't like this book? Then I don't want to waste $20 on the next book, but I love this series. So I hear another truck incoming, so basically I'm going to wrap this up. I really like this. That's all I want to say, and I'm excited to read the next one. Okay, bye. I'll see you in the next clip. Okay, so I'm back and I have finished this duology. You guys, I read this second book in 2 days. 2 days. That is really good for me because I read really slow. I quite literally had to peel my hands off of this book and go do something else because otherwise I was going to read the whole thing in 1 day and I wanted to savor it. I didn't want to just completely like steamroll through the entire story in just 1 day. So I finished the main story and then I gave myself a little break. I needed to absorb it. I needed to let all of my feelings settle. I needed to journal about it. I needed to really just sit with it. I gave myself that time, and then after I did that, I went ahead and read the extras. There are some epilogue chapters, and some of them were really good, others were okay, and there was just one that I didn't really like. But since it is just an extra, it doesn't really affect how I feel about the story a lot. This story is so powerful. When I finished it, you guys, I literally gasped. When I read the final sentence, I gasped. It is seriously one of the best ways I've seen a book end, and that's all I'll say because no spoilers. So, What do I give Little Mushroom? Little Mushroom is a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed this story a lot. My biggest criticisms are just that there are a few sentences that are a little bit repetitive, a little bit clunky. That kind of comes sometimes with translations. It's not a huge issue. It doesn't really take away a ton from the story. There were just a few things that could have been polished a little bit better. My biggest issue with the book was like the repetitive usage of religious symbols, specifically Christian symbols. Now, I was raised Christian, and in that environment, it was not very queer friendly. Those were not great times. And reading a book or reading a series that is very gay with these like Christian symbols in it, it was an interesting experience. Like, for one, I enjoyed it because I was like, yeah, like we can have gayness and we can have these religious symbols at the same time, why not? But also the symbols were starting to become repetitive. Like in the first book, I think it was tastefully done, but then it really went ham in the second book, to the point where I was kind of like, what, am I reading like the Bible? It started to diminish like the impact it was trying to make. Like it was not doing what it thought it was doing. That's all I'm gonna say. That was my personal like, I didn't really love that a whole lot. I also felt like the second book at moments was rushing a little bit, but that could also just be me feeling like, wait, I want more of these characters, please don't end yet. There was a lot being thrown out there that I felt like I needed to comprehend quickly, and it was a whirlwind. Like, that's the perfect way to put it. It was a whirlwind, but nonetheless, it was beautiful and it was great. And like, despite these personal like nitpicks I have with it, it's great, it's amazing. I would recommend this to anyone who is looking for sci-fi danmei. However, if you're looking for something that is very explicitly romantic, this is not it. These characters, their romance is very subtle. If you blink, you miss it. But I actually really like that kind of stuff. I find that that type of romance is just really relatable, and I find it even more endearing and sweet for some reason, because it's like, oh my gosh, you're really trying to show your emotions, and even though that's hard for you, you made an attempt, and that's just really, it's just cute. I love seeing their interactions. I think their interaction is pretty good. Some people have said that their chemistry is okay. I think their chemistry is pretty good. So I enjoyed that part of the story. But anyways, that was a complete side tangent. So I would recommend this if you're wanting to read something that is about the end of days, something that is very angsty and gritty, and something that really kind of questions, like, what is the point? Period. What is the point of all of our efforts? What is the point of us being so determined to survive and to live on? What is the point? Why do we do that? And will we keep doing that even when the cards are stacked against us? It's a very powerful, very intense story. Definitely not for anyone who is not a fan of violence or body gore. It's got tons of violence, body gore, scary monsters, all of that stuff. I got nightmares, legit. I got nightmares from this series. That is how terrifying some of the descriptions were. So yeah, if all that stuff sounds good to you, I think you're gonna enjoy this, and it's only 2 books. And it's published by the lovely people over at Peach Flower House. I love them so much. It is a woman and NB-owned publishing company. I am so happy to have learned about them through Little Mushroom, and I look forward to supporting them more and more. This month, April 30th, they're gonna have a new ebook release. I'm going to get it day 1. It sounds super cool. I'll put a link to it in my description in case you're interested as well. I just love supporting smaller publishers, especially woman and NB owned. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I'm happy to have read it. Now that I'm on the other side, I'm like, this was totally worth it. It was totally worth getting out of my comfort zone. I usually don't read angsty, scary, depressing stories, but I said, hey, like, why not? This looks interesting, and I loved it. And yeah, so thank you so much for tuning into this reading vlog. If you have any sci-fi danmei recommendations, please put them in the comments, because I am in love with this genre and I need more. So let me know what your favorite is, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye-bye.